So, the big question is this: how are entrepreneurs and real estate investors like us, ones who want to grow our businesses and who are tired of paying for really expensive alternative lending, how do we tap into the most inexpensive money available and do it without the hassle of typical borrowing? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. I'm Merrill Chandler, and welcome to the Are You Effable podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Are You Effable podcast. This is Brad Burnett here with Merrill Chandler, and today, guys, we are going to go into and cover one of the biggest mistakes entrepreneurs, real estate investors of all types, and business owners make. So get ready for an exciting episode. We're going to come back and we're going to dive deep into that on this episode of Are You Effable. So, Merrill, as we dive into this episode of Are You Effable, we want to talk about one of the biggest mistakes that real estate investors make, or business owners of any type, right. Entrepreneurs, small business owners, and that is how they name their business and the multiple little side shoots like NAICS codes, SIC, all of the different things that they unwittingly and unknowingly do to kill their fundability on the hope of being successful in business.
Right. So perfect way to kind of start this out, guys, is that there are innumerable ways. He just listed several of them. There are innumerable ways you can actually fill out an application. You think you're doing a superstar job of fill out an application, and in truth, you're actually telling the lender, don't lend to me. Don't lend to me. And they won't, because you just told them with the data you put on your applications to not lend to them. So this whole episode is about how to clone your business so that it fits Underwriter guidelines. The Underwriter guidelines are designed to prove you if you fill out your application correctly, if you've shaped your business correctly, and if you are in alignment with their approval guidelines.
Now, Merrill brings up the word like how you clone it. The challenge that most of our clients have run up against truly is having an entity that they are doing everything right in. Right. They might be making 8 figures a year
we have
for
those
several
clients.
years, and they walk in to try to get the most inexpensive money. Because why do we always talk about bank money? Because it's the most inexpensive money. Right.
It's not private money. It's not hard money.
You don't have to give up half your deal. You don't have to give up equity in your business. It's the most available money. Yeah. It's the most money.
Gobs and gobs and truckloads of it.
But if we just make small little errors, we're never going to be able to get our hands on that money. And so it starts right at the outset, because I know when I was, 2002, 2001 or 2, somewhere in there. I'd have to go back and really look at the timeline. I was starting to look at it, getting into my investing career, my investing path, right? And the asset protection company I was working with is top notch for that very thing, right? And I'll give them a shout out. It's Anderson Law.
Anderson Law.
A lot of our clients that
we have mutual.
Today,
we have
work with them.
Dozens, if not hundreds, of mutual clients.
And so they're awesome at what they do when they create your asset protection. But I didn't know anything about the concept of fundability, because I was taught, like, you're going into real estate investing, these are your sources. You always have to use alternative sources of funding if you want to be successful in real estate. And I bought into that.
Right.
Like hook, line, and sinker. They got me, right?
Because for generations, real estate investors couldn't get bank money because they didn't know these rules, right? The rules of the game. So we all bought into it. I did this exact same thing.
And so with that, I never worried about the concept of fundability. And because fundability wasn't even a concept back then, so let's start there.
This was 2002, not 2008 or 4 or 5 when we came out of prison.
And so, now he says we, he means he.
My bad.
So, we weren't buddies. And,
that's where we met.
But I didn't have even an idea about that. And because it's not their business model. Their job as my attorneys doing my asset protection was purely to protect my portfolio and to protect my assets. It had nothing to do with being fundable for banking. And so they didn't ask questions. So come to find out, I named my first business KIB Capital Management. The K was for Kenzie, the I was for Isabella, the B was for Burnett. Those are my daughters, right? And so I named the business and I thought it was cool and capital management, and had no idea that because I named it that, I was immediately not fundable.
Yep. On the application, a lender would look at that, and the current AUS software would look at it. The automatic underwriting software would look at it and see a red flag word and trigger it for an automatic denial.
Yep, automatic denial, just because of the name. And so most of us have not, like, we haven't even dived into the industries yet. Like all these high-risk industries. You can have high-risk words that we call them red flag words because they literally pull up red flags.
It's a red flag in the AUS.
Right.
They will literally go, oh, denied, and too many yellow flags
equal a red flag.
Equal that denial as well, right? So you're getting
like
the nomenclature.
It's like in soccer. If you're a soccer fan, you get 2 yellow cards. That's a red card, and you're out of the game. Right?
Yeah.
And you might miss the next one. I don't know all the rules. I don't play soccer. But it's the same concept. You can't have too many of those or you're going to get kicked out of the game.
You are to soccer what I am to basketball.
Yes. I'm a fan of soccer. I just don't pay attention to all of the
rules, right? So, not true with being fundable. The rules of this game, you got to know all of them because there are landmines, as we've discussed. There are landmines every step of the way, and they're put down there because they want. Remember, underwriting software are designed to protect lender money, but at the same time, approve the people who can get through the landmine. How would you like to have a path that takes you through and a minesweeper that allows you to look at every single landmine, dodge it, mark it, and never step on a landmine again? That's what that's what our whole Are You Effable podcast is about, is making sure that you know what landmines are there, how to mark them, and then how to literally navigate those mines all the way to fundability, right?
Yeah. And so now we know that having just the wrong name is a landmine. So Merrill, how do the people we're helping, how do they have a fundable entity?
So first things first, you got to one of the keys for becoming fundable is to understand that lenders do not like to lend to business. Now, I know this sounds like a revelation, but they don't like lending to businesses. They like lending to the owners of businesses. That's why you have to personally guarantee in every extension of credit, you have to personally guarantee it because they're checking you out. The way you treat other people's money on your personal credit profile is the way they know they're going to extrapolate that and say they're going to treat business money the exact same way.
Well, and to take that a step further, 80% of a small business, entrepreneurial business approval is going to come from the personal profile. So it's not, it is about how you treat other people's money, but you also have to have the right profile to be approved for business.
Correct.
So it's not just, hey, I have my I'll bring up your favorite. I've got my Target card, right? And I pay them on time, and I treat their money with respect. If I'm going to get approved for business, I got to prove that I can handle business money.
Yes, and business money is real money. Like I said, you're not going to get a $50,000 business line of credit on your Home Depot reputation, right? You got it. There's peers in lending, and you got to know that you could. Nobody's going to give you $50,000 either if your max credit card, if the highest limit of your credit card is $5,000 or $10,000. Not going to happen because they need to know how you treat a $20,000 or a $30,000 or a $50,000 set of credit limits. So the way we navigate these waters after. We're always presuming that you know the rules, and that's what this whole podcast is going to be. Episode 500 is going to be another damn rule about how to make. I love people are going to be like binging our thing because they're like, holy shit, I need more. So, Matrix reference. I know you haven't watched the movie. Matrix reference. Remember when Neo gets plugged in and he's like, I know Kung Fu, right? You're like, this is amazing. I need more. That's what this podcast is when it comes to creating funding opportunities for you. So our ultimate game plan for not just this podcast, but for you as a listener, as a subscriber, as a fan of the podcast, is to create every little nuance on your personal credit profile and the shape your business takes so that you pass muster, so that you're fundable in every way. So to swing back around to the original question, long answer to the short question, I'm notorious for those. I'm glad we don't have like Q&A on here. They'd be like, we riff for 15 minutes.
Yeah. What was the question?
Yeah, but you have to, your business, the form of your business, they don't want to fund your deals. Not going to happen. Real estate, notes, entrepreneurs. We have clients who own gyms. They don't want to fund a gym. Memberships are too squirrely. But they will fund the owner of the gym. They will fund the person behind the real estate deals. And this is revelation, guys. We're on our third episode, and we're telling you the secrets of the frickin' funding universe. That I said frickin' instead of look at me.
Impressive.
Yeah, I know. Hey, don't always count on that. All right. We put us in the what is it? The explicit category for a reason. But you have to understand the fundamentals of this universe says that you are different than your deals, and we'll go deeper and deeper into this. But you are not, your deals are not going to be fundable without all the documentation, because they got to know how your business works and all these things. If you focus on becoming a fundable a borrower profile, right? That personal profile. They look at how you treat money. They look at all of the 40 characteristics, and that's when they approve you without documentation, without tax returns, because they trust the data, and we shape that data. So first principle of cloning your a fundable entity is you got to know what they're willing to fund, and it's not your business. Are you hearing me? Not your business. It is you behind the business. Is that a fair way to say it?
100% fair way to say it. And so now let's pretend everybody is fundable.
Okay.
Behind the business.
You as a human person are backstopping the loans, and they're lending. They're willing to lend to you.
Yep.
Go.
And so the first thing you have to do is you have to have a name that's going to pass, because mine wouldn't, right?
Right.
So you have to have a name that doesn't have a red flag word in it. But you also have to be in an industry, because your name's not enough. Because the second thing they're going to check is, what is your industry? What is the purpose of your business?
Yes.
Because if it says, "Are you effable consulting?" but then it says the purpose is real estate investing.
Thank you for playing. You're out.
You're out.
And they find that out through what's called an SIC or an NAICS code. Now, SIC is the older version. It's like 20 years old, but here's how archaic business credit reporting is. They still use the 20-year-old SIC code. That stands for a standard industrial classification. So they're classifying your industry. The NAICS code is North American industry classification system. That's newer, and both of them are on all the current business credit reports, right? But here's the thing. If you don't declare what you are in your Dun & Bradstreet file, in your business Experian credit file, and your business Equifax credit file, when you fill out an application, here's what's bizarre. They read your name and then identify you as a class because you haven't declared it. And the second you do that, they do that for you. You are, until you change it, and we'll talk about how that do so. You're labeled and that is an unfundable SIC code. Real estate investing. I mean, if the SBA doesn't lend to it, lenders aren't going to lend to it, right? Yeah. So Small Business Administration. Your SIC code is the very thing that describes your purpose. And if you haven't put that into it and made it right in your documentation, you're going to get denied flat out, and your name will reveal it. So first, you got to have a fundable name of an entity, a fundable business type. And there are numerous versions of fundable entities. We got that list from Dun & Bradstreet, right? FICO, actually, the score development team at FICO told us, hey, there's go talk to Dun & Bradstreet, because we asked, hey, so what do you guys classify as a fundable type of business? And they're like, oh, we actually get the data and then measure it from Dun & Bradstreet. You should go ask them. So we tool out there, and remember, now we are kittens in the woods. This is our first FICO world. We don't know. I can't speak for Brad. I don't know shit about anything that FICO is doing. We just knew that what we had created and reverse engineered was working. Apparently it's working well enough that they made me sign an NDA, so we didn't share too much. But we go out to Dun & Bradstreet kiosk and just asked, hey, can you give us a list of fundable entities? Right? And they said, well, we don't have a list like number 1, number 2, number 3. We can give you a list of the percentages funded. Weird. I can do the math. So we get this they sent us an Excel spreadsheet that was like 10,000 cells long of the types of these SIC codes that were fundable and not fundable. Weird what you can do when you know the rules of the game. And we began to build that as part of our system to create fundable borrowers. So again, every one of these things we're talking about ends up in an episode. We can't go into... I can't share with you what I know from 25 years in a single episode, but I'm telling you right now, there is a formula. We call it the $1 Million Funding Formula, but there is a formula. And the key thing for your business is having the right name, the right SIC/NAICS code, and then business addresses, and making sure there's no red flags on business reporting, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
So if I'm just getting started, I'm listening to this podcast, I'm like, oh man, that's great news. I'm going to name my business right, and I might even go to your Facebook page and ask a question like, hey, what's a good name? I might do something like that, and then I go, okay, so I'm just getting started, so now I need to form an entity, and I can just do that. Now we're not your asset protection guys. This is my disclaimer right here. We're not your asset protection attorneys. We're not your legal counselor or whatever. Talk to them about how you set up your entity. The reality is you go to the Secretary of State, you set it up, but
talk to them.
Talk to them. So I set up my entity. I've named it right. I've got my SIC code correct. I can run to the bank and I can get funding.
Thank you for playing. Because the next feature of once we have all the data points, and remember how we said that 80% of funding comes from your personal profile. Where does the other 20% come from? People are like, oh, it's on my business credit. We can't get into Paydex now. We're hitting Paydex really soon. Yeah. We can't get into Paydex now, but just it's a dinosaur.
Episode 5.
Episode 5. It's not a thing. All right, but what are they looking at? What is the 20%? And you're not going to believe me, but here you go. They're looking at your data points. They're looking for that NAICS code. They're looking for the SIC. They're looking for a fundable business address. They're looking for the who is applying it, who is the owner, and does that data all sync up, right? So that 20% is not based on trade lines and business credit cards and other business loans. Dave at FICO told us that business credit reporting today is what personal credit reporting was in mid-'80s. I mean, it's horrible. So they don't count on it for data. They count on it for identity and fundable data points for your business. So that's where that 20% comes in. But are you still fundable? Can you walk in and get... So I just had to throw that in because that was the last little piece. Then with that data and an optimized profile... Now, we haven't even covered what a business optimized profile is, just that you need one. You build the relationship with the bank using the correct business form, the correct title, all of the things that 20% represents. Then you start building a business relationship with the bank.
And so if I do all of those things, and I'm a brand new business, and I do what you just said, then I can just walk into the bank and get a business line of credit.
Yes.
Can I?
If you've done all those things.
Are you sure?
Fire away. Tell me what I'm missing.
My business is brand new.
Oh, brand. Okay, so
I was trying to walk him down the path, guys. It's got to be aged. It's got to be seasoned.
I thought he was
has to be
talking.
old enough.
I'm already making those assumptions. Yes, seasoning. They want to see 3 years worth of not tax returns, 3 years on the Secretary of State or Department of Corporations. We can make it fundable. If we're spectacular, we can make it fundable at 24 months. But the laydowns, if there is such a thing in this business, the laydowns are at 36 months. Yeah. Now, there's a couple of ways to skin that cat. You can modify a current company. You can do a shelf company. You can do even a new company.
Start a new company and just age it.
Right? And it depends on how long it takes for your personal profile. We have people who come to us still, hey, I'm never going to get out of helping people who have the oopsies on their personal profiles,
bad
right?
Things happen to good people.
Right.
It's the fact of life. It hasn't changed as long as I've known you.
And bad things happen to bad people, too, who go to prison for it, right? So, but the bottom line...
I don't know that reference.
Yeah, but the bottom line is you can make an entity fundable in a number of ways in that seasoning process. But as we go through that, you have to have certain markers, and those markers we are able to help you with less than perfect credit, and optimize around any derogatory accounts. We have clients who have 800 plus credit profiles with derogatory indicators on their files because for a number of reasons. Another episode. Holy, yeah. We'd literally be here for 70.
So
do we tell them about a boot camp so they don't have to listen to 700 episodes to get 24?
They know. Funnyhackers.com. You can check it out.
Go funnyhackers.com. But one of the
things to bring up right here is because you just mentioned 800 plus profile. Guys, your credit score is the fourth item of importance when it comes to fundability.
Yes.
It's like Merrill uses the reference in basketball.
Yeah.
One of these days we're gonna play a drinking game when Merrill brings up a new metaphor because kittens in the woods, that was a new one.
Brand new, never before.
It'll be a drinking game. We'll all do shots when he brings up his metaphor. But
team, you can now use kittens in the woods as an official metaphor.
But
for our clients.
Your credit score is just it's the scoreboard. It doesn't tell you any details of the game. It doesn't tell you who scored. It doesn't tell you who had assists. It's the scoreboard
of the entire team and game, not the individual players.
Yeah. So don't you'll notice we rarely make that reference, but it's a known reference. People are tied to that credit score. Credit Karma is doing a great job of getting people to be aware of their credit, doing a horrible job of the reality. So we're
of fundability.
That up another day.
Yeah, that's an entire episode. Keep listening because we're going to take down Credit Karma.
But it's about the aging. If I wanted to tie it back to that, it's about, if you think about it again, take a step back and go like, how do bankers lend? Like, what do they want to do? They want to protect their money. They want to make sure they get paid back. They want to make that money on that money, right?
Yeah.
In that, as a process, if you have an entity that's 2 years old, you can really come in and we'll talk about how you can crank up the optimization process to be more fundable, so you get a bigger loan approval. But if nothing else, if you did the exact same things and had a 3-year-old business, you will get approved for more.
You will get. So that's the key. At 3 years, and you've done everything else. And remember, you can do 24 months. It's just that you have to have tightened your shit up hardcore to be able for them to be able to go, I'll risk this money on a 24-month business, but most people fail within 3 years, so they want to see that at least that number from your foundation date or your founding date.
I concede the fact that I was just kind of playing a little bit, but in your 20%, aging is calculated in.
Yes, okay.
Right. That's automatic.
That's fair.
Part of the process.
How old is your funding entity, right? And notice the language we don't say how old is your business. We're saying how old is your funding entity, because go back to what we were saying. We want you to be the funding entity encased in a legal entity called an LLC or a single shareholder incorporation, right? We want you to be the funding entity and then you wear this little thing called an LLC around you. That's what's fundable. So that you're never going to hear us fund your business. We're going to say get you funded, and then you fund your businesses.
Now, that I think is a slippery slope.
Okay, that is an entire episode.
Well, it's an entire episode, but guys, when he's saying you funding you, it's that 80% concept. Yeah. You still have to have a legal, moral, and ethical business that you are backing. He said it 10 times on this episode, 100 times in all of them, and it's that you are fundable, but it's in a legal, viable business, and that's what the age indicates. If you have an entity, just think of it's common sense, right? I should be careful saying it's common sense.
It's not common sense. It's counterintuitive.
I didn't know it was common sense until I knew it was common sense, right? But most of us who are in business, even starting out as entrepreneurs, we know that small businesses, entrepreneurial businesses, go out of business. They fail, right? We know that. And
what's the biggest reason for failure?
Lack of capital.
Whoa.
Boom.
Hashtag lack of capital.
Hashtag lack of capital. But if you've been in business for 24 months, you're starting to prove longevity.
You're almost over that provable edge
36
of success.
months, all of a sudden now you're a bit more viable as a business. You have revenues coming in. You have the longevity. You have the years, the age behind you.
Correct.
5 years, it's even better, right? So if nothing else, go start a flipping LLC
today, and let's age that bitch.
Name it right, and let's age that little sucker. Right?
Okay, so and I'm exactly where he's going with this. I want to huge exclamation points, guys. You're sitting here going, yeah, but I need money now. I'm like, well, what'd you do yesterday and the day before and the day? Don't get greedy. Do it right. Pull all of this together, because 2-3 years is coming, whether you do anything about it or not. So there are ways to advance all of this. There are hacks to all of this. We can't cover every hack in every episode for every subject matter. Just know, keep listening and accrue all of this information. The bottom line is
Whoa, now hold up. Let me jump in right there, because just keep listening, accrue all this. If you are in a position where you need money right now, there's 2 lanes we can run down here. This is the fork in the road. One, go to our boot camp.
Yeah.
Because we'll teach you everything in 2 days.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And
one weekend.
By the time you're listening to this, we might have another boot camp. We might be, who knows? Because
deeper dives.
We are dedicated to teaching this information, but we also get that as business owners, as real estate investors, sometimes we have to move fast. Because I've never known a real estate investor who wasn't like, yeah, I could use every dime of the money you're talking about yesterday.
Yeah.
All of us could. All of us can. Now, the other path, go to the boot camp, but the other fork, the other path in this road is if you're not able to use your alternative lending sources, you're not going to get bank money.
Yeah.
Okay, so don't come to us and go, well, I need money now, and then us go, well, okay, so when you need money fast, that's what alternative lending sources are for.
Correct.
That's what they're designed to be for. If you can't get that money, ask yourself why. Okay,
because it's one of the reasons
you're not going to get the money when you come to us.
Right.
Okay.
Because, guys, fundability starts with the quality of the deal, the intelligence of you doing the deal. Hard money lenders, private lenders are going to lend to you if the deal's smart. Well, if the deal's smart, then what we're doing is we're just codifying all of that intelligence and all of that experience and all of your ability. We're codifying it inside of this funding entity, and that's what's going to then we're going to codify that and take it to the bank, and they're going to fund you. So it's just cheaper, faster money, but you guys have to understand, you got to start somewhere. This is a long-term play, but it is a permanent for the rest of your lifetime play, right? I've been doing this for 25 years and still acquiring more credit lines. I'll just throw this out there. Just got another $75,000 from Wells Fargo, 65 in the credit line and 10 in the credit card for a total of 75. by following the very rules I'm telling you. You know what my prohibited or my high-risk entity was? Echelon Credit Advisors. That's where we worked originally before we converted to CreditSense, right? Echelon Credit Advisors. You know what it's called now? Echelon Management Advisors. Not a whole lot of difference in the aging and all the other stuff, but now I created a model where I am centering my fundability around me and my skill set, not doing credit, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, and I want to go back to one thing you just said, Merrill. You made the reference. This is the long game, right? Merrill said it already. I'll just reemphasize it. You're gonna have 2 years pass no matter what. Why not start the process of putting in place not only a long-term play, but a renewable play?
Oh.
Because one of the things that is
listen to what he's saying right now.
Annoying thing for me when I was knee deep in doing flips at the time was every hard money loan I got, I had to go get another one.
Requalify.
I had to pay it off. I had to requalify. Now I get that you build relationships with these guys and they start to trust you and all of that. I understand that entire process. Trust me, from private lending to splitting deals to all of it. I get it. But imagine if you didn't have to do that. Imagine if you had that same money resource, and as soon as you got your deal taken care of, you just paid off that money resource, and it was replenished to 100%. And then you could access it again immediately. You didn't have to go out and submit an application.
Reapply, requalify.
And that is what this is about. Being able to get that type of access. And
hashtag write a check, do a deal. Because that's what the business lines of credit and or the commercial loans, if you can use all the money at the same time, the renewable resource is these business lines of credit to the tune of every bank will go up to, especially when you know what you're doing with the banks, they'll go up to $100,000 in unsecured and stated income at these lowest possible rates, right?
Well, and if you really know what you're doing, you could get $500,000.
Okay, we'll save Teresa. Go to funnyhackers.com, watch Teresa's story, and then we'll tell you how to do it. The issue is that you're writing a check and doing a deal over and over and over again. Oh, and guess what? Automatic underwriting guidelines will tell you that every time you pay it off, you're accumulating points because you use it intelligently in a way that we actually teach you how. It's one of the rules of the game. When you actually use the line, that's when you get those automatic limit increases. It happens because they want to give you more money because you're treating their money within their underwriting guidelines. They feel safe. They want to give you as much up to $500,000, $670,000 for Derek and Aisha. I mean,
yep.
Guys, it's all about the rules, and this episode's about shaping your personal
Thank you.
profile.
No,
shaping your business profile so that you're not telling them no. Those are the biggest landmines that you're currently stepping on. Hey, I flip I'm a real estate investor. I need real estate money, and you go to Chase or Wells or PNC, and they're like. You know that guy rolling over on the floor laughing at you, right?
Well, or you go in and you have this incredible business, and the loan officers are just chomping at the bit because they get paid when they actually write a loan, and they are like, oh yeah, we got you covered. Let's go golfing. You and I, we're gonna be buddies. Let's go to lunch. What else can I do for you?
Story.
And then the underwriter gets the paperwork and goes, no,
not a chance.
Denied. Big stamp on it. So and guys, this brings up a really interesting point. I appreciate that Merrill brought it back to cloning the business entity because you can see how interwoven every single piece is.
All of it is.
It all leads. One thing is not an island in and of itself. It is all so
a rabbit
integrated and can be. Oh my good night! It's like the rabbit condominium complex. Right?
This is a rabbit condo hole. Seriously. We're your guides.
Yeah.
We got you.
That's why we're not going to stop after this episode.
Yeah.
We're going to keep
going.
Done.
Go to
funnyhackers.com. Go to our blog. Go listen to the other episodes. Download us. Subscribe to us. We're going to keep bringing you this level of information to make sure you can be fundable and so you can get the money to do the deals you want to do.
Hashtag write a check, do a deal.
Hashtag write a check, do a deal. Anything else, Merrill, on cloning an entity. I think we covered it.
I
and
would
then
love
some.
to. Our team. I would love to clone me, just so that I can do this all day, teach and preach the gospel of fundability, and have our team have all the resources all the
Hashtag
time.
funding revolution.
Funding revolution. All right, guys.
All right,
Have a spectacular. Have a great day. We're starting to get giddy now because where's the wine?
Yeah,
I think that
it's
one's up
late
next.
in the day, so it's time to get some drinks on.
Yes.
All right, we will see you on the next episode.
Peace. Hey guys, thank you for listening to Are You Effable? Please leave comments because I would love to read about your aha moments from this episode. And be sure to visit fundinghackers.com to view the blog post, get important links, join our community, and much, much more. And you gotta tell your friends about this podcast. We want them to become effable too.